Hey, how you doing? I'm still in my seat. I'm hanging in here. How's everything? This is my wife. Yeah. I'm glad that you guys
All right, good evening, everyone. It is 6:30, so we're going to go ahead and get this meeting started. I'm going to pass the mic to Dr. Bridges for the introduction. All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Ashton Watts. I'm your District 1 school board member and the board president. The board conducted 9 interviews over 3 days, with each interview lasting up to an hour. Lawrence County has been so blessed with such qualified and experienced applicants. The board's goal is always to do whatever necessary to ensure the success of every student in the school district. We only want our district to thrive. Tonight, I will randomly select 15 questions that each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer. At the completion of the questions, each candidate will be able to address you stakeholders for 2 minutes in conclusion. As you exit, you will have the opportunity to vote on the card for the candidate you think is best for our district. This will be factored into the board's decision on Thursday. All questions must follow privacy laws and apply to the superintendent position or school district as a whole. And the questions have to be answered by each candidate, so it can't be one specific to an individual person. We're going to start with giving each candidate 2 minutes to just introduce themselves to you, and then we'll start with the questions. First up is Dr. Jason McLeod.
Good evening to each of you. I'm Dr. Jason McLeod. I am the current Deputy Superintendent in Jefferson Davis County School District, where I've served for the past 8 years. Prior to that, I was working there at Forest County School District as an assistant principal. Prior to that, I was in Jefferson Davis County as a teacher in various grades from 4th through 6th grade, as well as an inclusion teacher. I've also served as a consultant in areas. I served in the United States Army for 8 years. I'm married with 3 children. I have completed my education from William Carey University, my bachelor's, master's, specialist, and PhD. I serve as the presiding elder in the New Orleans Lafayette District of the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church, where I've served for 16 years as a pastor before becoming the presiding elder. I work diligently with our community to ensure that our children have all that they need, as well as making sure that my children are part of that. So we want to say greetings to each of you. We look forward to helping Lawrence County continue to reach great heights.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Tiffany Hicks. I'm currently the Assistant Superintendent in the Hazelwood City School District. I attained a bachelor's degree in biology with a minor in chemistry. I attained my master's degree from Mississippi College, as well as my specialist and my doctorate degree in educational leadership. I began my career in education as a teacher in Jackson Public School District, where I taught elementary education, and I worked in Rankin County School District, where I taught mathematics, science, biology, and other course areas. I achieved administrative level when I worked in Hazelwood City School District as an assistant principal. I've served as an assistant principal, director of teacher and student support services, director of curriculum instruction, and currently assistant superintendent. We all want what's best for children, and that's what I plan to do to help Lawrence County move forward in that direction for everyone to reach full potential. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alan Barron, and I want to say thank you all for being here. Thank you to the school board for allowing this forum. I know the community appreciates it, and we appreciate it as well to be able to come up and share our ideas about how we can lead the district. I appreciate the passion of this community. That was well seen when the names were announced about who would be on this forum. There's a lot of opinions, a lot of strong opinions, because you want what's best for your students. I share that passion. I have a child who goes to school here in the district, Topeka Tilton. Jackson. He's 10 years old. I won't embarrass him to point him out, but he's here tonight. So I have a shared vested interest. I have 21 years of experience in public education, 12 years as a teacher, and 9 years as an administrator, 1 year as assistant principal, 8 years as a principal in both North Pike School District and Franklin County School District. In that time, and this will come up later, I'm sure, we were able to successfully move those schools from a level D to a level B. We did it in North Pike and we did it in Franklin County. And it wasn't just me. It was as a result of the cooperation, collaboration, teamwork of some hard-working, dedicated teachers. And just want to say that's kind of my philosophy. We don't do this by ourselves. It takes everybody. It takes parents, it takes teachers, it takes administrators. And I'm proud of that work we did. It definitely plays into my experience in this role. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. How are you all doing? My name is Robert Lampkin. I'm from Macomb, Mississippi, where I am currently Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction. And I bring you greetings on behalf of Macomb and those folks who love children just like you all do. We all love children, right? We want the best for our kids. And I know you all do, and I have watched you guys just continue to grow. Even when you beat us this couple of months back with the football team, I saw that and I understand. And you know, I'm just elated to be here. And I just want to say thank you for having me here. Thank you for having this forum. I think it's important that we can talk seriously about educating our children, because that's the greatest thing that we can offer them as an education. I come from a school of thought where we are reaching, teaching, touching, and empowering leaders for tomorrow. It's very important that we do that. Time is of the essence. This time is now. We can't wait for later. And the world is moving while we're sitting sometimes and thinking as a nation. But here in Lawrence County, I'm watching you guys performing. So let's continue to do that work. I have a bachelor's degree from Jackson State University. I have a master's degree from University of Southern Mississippi, and a specialist degree in leadership, education leadership for Southern University. I'm currently working on my PhD in research statistics evaluation, where it will help continue to do this work that we're doing, because I tell you, if you don't know statistics, if you're not looking at data and making it make sense to practical efforts, then we're not in this business to do what's necessary for scholars. So I'm glad to be here, and I just want to acknowledge my lovely wife over here. If you can raise your hand, please. She's the better half of the Lampkin team, and again, I just want to thank you all for having us and up here. And I know that everyone up here are passionate about children, and so at that, we're ready to pass it on.
All right, if you pass it down to Dr. McLeod, he's going to go first, and the way we'll go, we'll start with Dr. McLeod, we'll go down, and then we'll come like a snake draft, so that the same person doesn't have to answer first every time. So I just randomly picked out 15 cards. The first question, Dr. McLeod, is how do you plan to boost morale for teachers and for our county in general?
How do we plan to increase morale? First, we want to make sure that meeting the needs of the students guides the expectation of the teachers. When you ensure that the needs of the students are met, you fulfill the expectation of the teachers with collaboration, communication, support, and conversation. What I call LC3. It's listen confidentially, learn creatively, and lead courageously. That's my motto for being the superintendent here in Lawrence County. Teachers need to be able to know that we will listen, we will learn, and we will lead on their behalf. So making sure they know their voices are heard, give them those essentials needed to ensure that they can be effective, whether there be support from training at the central office, support from training at their school level, or support outside of the district, working with the curriculum director, their principal, and each of their units in their schools to be successful.
So in order to increase teacher morale, we must first acknowledge what teachers do every day. Every day, teachers are on the front lines in the classroom. They're the first line that we tie to accountability. So I think it is very important that we understand that we have to understand teacher workload, giving teachers their time back, being communicated, understanding who's in a tested area, who's accountable, who's not. We want to make sure that everyone's doing a job every single day, because all too often we only put the pressure down on teachers, especially in tested areas. So when we're talking about morale, it is very important that we ensure that the workload is evenly distributed. We have professional learning communities developed. Our data has been analyzed throughout the school and the district, and we ensure that we have the goal in mind for everyone on staff. Teacher morale is usually impacted when they're working. They see other people that may not be working so hard, because everyone has a job to do. So I think increasing teacher morale will be best suited by making sure that everyone has a workload that's distributed, and we give acknowledgments, merits, and things of that nature, and that's how you increase teacher morale.
Before I address that, I forgot to mention my academic credentials. I've got a bachelor's degree in history from USM, a master's degree from William Carey College of Secondary Education, master's degree from USM in Education Leadership, and I'm still working on that doctorate degree. And I'll get it one day. I'm a couple of classes short and dissertation short, but still a dream of mine to complete it someday I'll get there. As far as increasing teacher morale, I think the best thing we can do is treat teachers like the professionals they are and ask for their input on important decisions. They are the boots on the ground, as Dr. Hicks mentioned. They are on the front lines, and they do the thing. They get the job done every day. We lead, by giving them the resources they need, by offering advice, by giving feedback and observations. But they're the ones getting the job done. And if we're not taking the time to get their opinions, we're really doing a disservice to them and to the students, because they're dealing with the issues. They're in the classrooms, and they get a planning period most of the time, but other than that, they're getting after it. And stop them to take the time to hear what they think, to hear what their opinions are, is of the utmost importance. And this is an example of this tonight. I don't know how many of you here are teachers, but there's probably quite a few, because you want your voice to be heard and you want to get your opinions out there, because you are experts in the field of education and experts on students. We want to appreciate you for that. And we can start doing that by asking for your opinions.
Like many of my colleagues have said up here, teachers are the utmost importance. However, I do want to make clear that it's not what someone do to you without asking you. It's very important that we have conversations with teachers. And not just have conversations, but build relationships with teachers. As a superintendent, it should be a situation where you're constantly in your office and you don't go out and connect with those that are on the front line. They got to see that you're willing to roll up your sleeves and do the work as well. It's very important that you're not only watching, but you're acknowledging the fact that they are doing some very hard work. Teachers, you know how it is now. We have kids who deal with cell phones. You have kids who are working hard to meet those standards, and you know where they come from. You know their background. You understand who they are. You also have issues at home. We have to have balance. We have to consider who you are and what you do, not just here in the school, but also what you do at home. It's very important that we consider your social emotional as well as we consider the scholar's social emotional. We all have had to deal with COVID. We all are still managing what does that look like. And so we must take in consideration when we think about who you are as a person. We have to see you as a person, not just that person who's doing the work in the classroom. That's important. And it's most important to do what's necessary for scholars. But I do know this, if you don't have a healthy teacher, you cannot have a healthy scholar. It's very important that you do that. But we all still must do that work and still be held accountable in the right way.
All right, and you can just hold the remote because you're going to be the first one on this one. Lawrence County schools are currently B-rated. Should we accept that we will never be A-rated district? If not, do you have a plan?
Say that one more time, wasn't clear.
I'm sorry. Lawrence County schools are currently B-rated. Should we accept that we will never be A-rated district? If not, do you have a plan?
Please know that being a B-rated school district is not an easy feat. It is not. And I think you have to celebrate where you are. But that's never an excuse to stay where you are. The goal is to become a school district with 100% in each category. And so you have to build those, you have to continue to do the work that's necessary, but you also have to celebrate small wins. And you have to make sure that when you set goals for the district, then those goals are attainable but you're still stretching who you are and what that looks like as far as a district. And my plan is simple: to support the instructional method in the school districts, to support the teachers as they teach scholars, to ensure that we have quality HQIM, high quality instructional materials in the schools, to ensure that there's alignment and coherence with our curriculum, but also to build relationships, ensure that scholars have a relationship with their teachers, and it's evident that that's going on, but we want to make sure it continues, that it's not just a scholar and teacher relationship, but it's also a principal and teacher relationship, a principal and scholar relationship. And then that relationship is levered all the way through. That's important. Why are you still holding folks accountable in a loving way? You have to continue to do that. But if you don't set goals and make sure that you measure those goals and make sure that there's a way to celebrate small wins, that gets the momentum going. So you want to continue to do that type of work and make sure that that's the plan that you stick with as we move forward to moving this district from a B to an A.
I believe the question was referring to rating to B. Should we accept that and continue working toward an A? The vision statement of this district is to eventually become an A district, and I think that's going to be the goal we have. There were, I believe this past testing season, there were a record number of A high schools in the state of Mississippi. And just to give a shout out to my former district and my current district, Franklin County High School and North Pike High School, both reached that goal for the first time in the district history. I want to see Lawrence County overall reach that goal too. And you're going to hear a lot of us repeat the same things because they're best practice in education. But I agree with what Mr. Lampkin said. You've got to get in there and look at data, look at the blueprints of the test, and educate teachers on those things if they don't know them already, particularly with new teachers. We've gotten better in the last, since 2013, 2014, in understanding the accountability model under the college and career rating standards. And we're going to continue to get better at it. We're going to make improvements where we need to. And that goal of being an A is always at the forefront of administrative decisions and school decisions overall.
As far as becoming an A school district, that goal should never change. Currently, the school district is at 648 points, when you only need 20 points to achieve A status, which is a 668. At your high school level, you are currently at 713, you're 41 points away. New Hebron is just 68 points away. And then you have Rye Page is 36 points away. You have Montessori Elementary is 32 points away. And then you have Topeka Tilton is only 18 points away from achieving that status. So I say it is very possible if we're very strategic and intentional about the goals that you set as far as what areas you're going to attack. So we know that at your high school level that you are very solid in mathematics and U.S. history, so you may need some assistance in your science and ELA areas, where in New Hebron, you're not as solid in your assistance in mathematics. So I would assume that some type of vertical alignment needs to take place from that level to the high school level to bring down those strategies and PLCs that will assist in that process. And Topeka Tilton, they have very high proficiency in each area, but the science department is suffering, and it has not achieved the 60 percentile that will take you to that A level. In Monticello Elementary School and Rod Page, ELA seems to be a distractor that is taking points down that are preventing the A status. So if you can get a plan in place that is going to help you achieve status, it will definitely be an ELA for the Rod Page and Monticello schools. So if you're going to achieve A status, everyone has to work to that capacity. And as I stated previously, it has to be a workload distributed across the board. It cannot just be tested area. Everyone has to pull their weight. It has to be cross-curricular activities, whereas in social studies, computer science, and everything else. So that's how you definitely want to achieve A status by maintaining those goals.
B rated is great rating, but of course, the goal is to be an A. In order to maintain the B and become an A, there has to be a strategic plan that is done by the district, that is implemented by the school, and that is supported individually by the teacher and the students. When we look at the testing model, we know that they are recommending on next year that our low percentiles be cut in half. The bottom 25% will not count as 100 anymore. It's recommended to count for 50, as well as that growth is not to be counted as 100, it's to be counted as 50. So it will bang with us being proficient. That's how the school will move toward an A. So when we look at the data that has just been shared, we look at the trend of growth in the community. We know that New Hebron has a trend of being a C school, moving up to a B school, going back down, coming back up. So we have to look at our trends. Topeka Tilton has consistently been a B, dropped to a C, came back to a B. Looking at our middle school and high school, their trend was gradually increasing. How are we doing that? What are we doing effectively? What's happening effectively in our PLCs, in our data conversations? Are our lesson plans mirroring those expectations of the state exams? How do we ensure that our universal screeners are ensuring that we're going toward the goal of being an A-rated school district? All of these things tie in. It goes even to teacher morale, because if the teacher is not teaching, the student cannot perform. So data is not an individual piece. The numbers are going to tell us what's happening with all the other pieces. So the plan is to make sure that every teacher is equipped, every classroom is progressing satisfactorily, every school has what they need so the district can see growth.
You can keep the microphone. All right, for our third question, why do you want to be the superintendent of the Lawrence County School District?
Oh, that's a good one for me. Jefferson Davis County and Lawrence County are duplicative, if you could say the same. We are very familiar. Our demographics, even our databases, are very similar when we look at our schools. We have community schools. We want our community schools to be the best. We strive to make sure that we keep that going. You know, before Jefferson Davis County was Jefferson Davis, it was half Lawrence. So it's really the same. We share 3 communities, Oakville, New England, Silver Creek. So we are really cross-referencing in many areas, and that means that I have a vested interest in your growth because the majority of our community depend on each other. We have one of the best employers, GP is over here, that employs most of our community in Jefferson Davis. And when one of us succeeds, both of us succeed. But being that I am going to be the next superintendent of Lawrence County, I say now we succeed.
I would like to say, I started in Hazelwood City School District as an assistant principal through a process of interviews. I didn't know anyone. I came in to do a job because I wanted to do what's best for children. As this position came over, it's the same concept. I don't know anyone in the district. I came to run and do a mission and see the vision meet as becoming a school district and doing what's best for children. I have a vested interest in what educators do every day. I have a very big support system, passion for teaching and learning. It is very important that we come to work every day to do a job. And our job should not be based on loyalty to people or staff. The loyalty should be based on to children and the agenda of accomplishing the mission and vision. I think it is very important that we all come to work to make sure that we do what's best for children. Because if I come to work one day and you're loyal to me and I've lost my mind, we've lost the agenda, we're not doing what's best for children. We have to be loyal to students and the cause. So I would like to be the Lawrence County Superintendent because I know one thing, my agenda is pure. I don't know anyone, I have no favors to fulfill. I'm just coming here to do a job and make sure that children are given the best education possible to be able to compete on a global level. Thank you.
I've got 3 reasons why I want to be a superintendent here in Lawrence County. Number 1 is because, as I mentioned earlier, I've got personal investment here. Not only my son Jackson, but his little sister Blair is here tonight too, his cousins, the rest of his family. He's got friends that he plays ball with in Monticello that down who attend Topeka Tilton. They attend Rod Page, they attend Monticello Elementary, they attend New Hebron, and several of his cousins graduated from Lawrence County High School. He's eventually going to be a graduate of Lawrence County High School as well, class of 2031. And I'm looking forward to being there when he does. Number 2, I believe that having the opportunity to be in the district with my son is going to give me longevity, which is, I think, something that this district needs in a superintendent. The previous superintendents, the last 2, have been here for 2 years each. I believe one took another opportunity in the district, one is retiring. Those are great things. But in order to accomplish the things that this district needs to accomplish, I think you're going to need somebody who's willing to spend the time to see these projects through. Otherwise, it's one in, one out every 2 years. And the third reason is for the successful experience that I've had in moving districts forward. Again, 2 districts, both level Ds, moved to level Bs. And I will piggyback off something Dr. McLeod said. We've got to focus on proficiency over growth. Growth is cyclical. It ebbs and flows. You're going to go up, you're going to go down, depending on where you are. If we don't focus on proficiency and getting students on grade levels, particularly in reading and math, at the lower levels and junior high levels, you're going to continue to see that up and down pattern. We want to see the district move forward by focusing on proficiency, and that comes from good teaching, good learning, and looking at data constantly and reforming our practices when we need to.
Lawrence County School District is awesome. I've had a chance to see the district grow. And when I remember coming here in 1999 was my first year here, coming and watching a football game, and I was awed by the people, the reception that I received here as just a visitor. So that told me something about this community, that you guys love people and you love each other. And I think I know that you love your children. And I want to be in a place where there's a passion for excellence, that you really want to continue the work that we all have been called to, and that's to make sure our scholars get what they need. It's our job to raise the next generation. And I feel personally that it's a calling for me to be here, to make that impact, to ensure that quality instruction continues, and that I can stand on the shoulders of all those great educators who've come before me and join hands with the teachers and the students here and all the great workers to ensure that our scholars here get what they really need. And that's very important. And I understand that A is where we want to go, but we also have to look past the A as well. Y'all, I'm telling you, when you look and scholars go off to college, getting the Algebra 1 score, getting the US History score, getting the English 2 score, and getting the Biology 1 score is important to graduate, but they don't ask you that when they leave. They ask you, what does the ACT look like? So we need to make sure that we empower them to have the ACT scores. We got to give them the soft skills in order to be effective. It's a shame when we are not able as a nation to give character to kids that will keep them in the place that they're going. You guys have that. So I want to be a part of that. I already think that I'm a Lawrence County Cougar. That's who I am. I love the cat. So, y'all, I think it's fantastic that the work that you do, but I'm telling you, with having passion for Lawrence County, that's my heart. I really feel that it's my mission, and it's also my mission to ensure that there's your child gets what they need to be successful moving forward. And that also includes ensuring that quality instruction moves forward, and includes good social and emotional learning going forward.
Thank you, Mr. I'm sorry, Mr. Lincoln, that was 2 minutes. I'm
Thank
sorry to cut you off. Okay, but you're first up on this one. What are your strategies to encourage more community involvement within the district?
So, community involvement in the district. I think one of the main things that the superintendent must be visible themselves. It's not possible to model. It is possible to model something and you don't do it right and people don't follow. You want to be able to model what you expect. You want to inspect what you expect. So if I'm going to expect for there to be good parental involvement, I want to be part of the community. My plan is to go and have case studies, not case studies, but have meetings in each area. Let's do tangible. True enough, strategic plans are important, the data is important, but nothing's important if I'm not tangible. You can't touch the person that's leading your children, because the children are in the education system, and whoever leads that system will be the people that will be touching your children. So it's important that we have communication. It's important that we put parameters in place to ensure that we have proper communication going out. You want to use all your media pieces, your newspaper, your internet. You want to also make sure your website is up to par, but you also want to make those personal phone calls and people see people. Go around to those neighborhoods, make sure you make connection with folks, but also have a very strong plan for your parental involvement committee or your parental involvement department. You want to ensure that they have what they need to be successful to reach out to the parents and reach out to the community effectively so that we can all grow together. But you also want to be welcome. We should have an open door policy. Or make sure that people feel welcome to come in. And if you have a voice of something that you want to say, I'm telling you, as your superintendent, I'll be open to hear you. And I promise you that it is very important that we stick to being communal and collaborating to ensure that we all come together to make sure our stars are the best they can be.
Okay, strategies to encourage more community involvement. Number one, the thing you're doing here tonight, having a community forum, and it's not appropriate to do just when you're looking for a new superintendent. There are lots of issues that come up that parents and community members would like to have some input in. You can't do it all the time because it takes a great deal of organization to do it. But this is a good thing to do. There are other ways to get community input and involvement. I've made a lot of use as a principal in surveys because I want to hear the opinions of my staff on any decision I make. That's not to say that I always go with the majority or go with what decision they think is best, but at least they've been heard. And to get out into the community as well, talk to people, let them tell you their opinions. Again, they don't always get their way because you can't make everybody happy, but being heard is about 90% of it. People want to feel like they have a voice, and I think that's one of the biggest things a superintendent can do. The last thing I'm going to say is athletics. Probably record turnouts when the football team was in the playoffs this last year, and I believe the girls basketball team and the softball team recently have performed pretty well too. You build up your athletic programs. Academics is huge. Our schools are judged by academics, but you got to put some attention to athletics too. Not only do you offer scholarships for graduating seniors, you give a source of pride in the district. Mr. Lamb brought up the Cougars. Man, it was a proud day to be a Cougar when the football team was in the playoffs. When I lived in Macomb, my son and I actually got to could hear the game from where I live. And I didn't realize at first it was Lawrence County playing Macomb that night. But man, it hit the news fast and crowds could hear them from where we were. You build up pride in the community by investing in athletics. I went to a few football games here this past season and was thoroughly impressed with the community output, the attendance, and didn't see any kind of nasty attitudes from the players or from the parents. It was just a peaceful, good place to be, and I was proud to have a small part of Lawrence County School District in that game, and really put some money into athletics, put some time and some consideration into it. You can really build community support in that way.
I think by expanding the vision of the school district to the community and making sure that they understand what we stand for and what we're trying to achieve, we can do this by being very visible and just introducing ourselves formally to the community in forums such as this. And not just for the superintendent, but with the whole leadership team, staff. We should know who's working at the school district. Also having just different community walks and events that allow sponsors and partnerships from the local businesses and companies to be visible and support us in that way, and we can support one another. Leadership profiles of everyone that works in the leadership team of the school district should be mailed to homes. They should be posted on the website, and they should also be posted on the community forums and such as social media. We should all be familiar with the neighborhoods that are in the area. Some of us live locally, some of us do not. But we should be visible during times where there are events taking place, where they're put on by the school or put on by the community. We should also do engagement surveys to see how parents would like to be involved in those type of events and make sure that they attend board meetings so they can hear the happenings that are going on in the school district. We should definitely create parent and community groups, expand leadership and volunteer opportunities to parents, and make sure that they are involved in the educational process and what we do every day. It would be very good to establish a school community newspaper in which we are sharing the vision about what's happening in the community and what's happening inside the school district in one format. We should also host parent professional developments in which we are training the parents what the students are learning in these classrooms. And that will assist in the process when we're talking about homework, studying for assessments and things like that for the students. And you do have an EL population where they may not speak English. So I think everything that goes home, whether it's sports or whether it's academic, every document should be translated on both sides, whether it's electronic or on paper.
Strategies to encourage more participation for the community. First, that just takes me back to LC3. Listen, learn, and lead. You listen by making sure your community is heard. That's various community events, we know that we don't have good turnouts at most parent meetings. So we have to be creative in our small communities. And we know what our schools are rated. We have to create, as one of the board members said, what do we do to celebrate? You have to make sure you celebrate in order to make sure that people are communicating and participating. Community awareness. That's something that is major in our small communities because the majority of our school is the heartbeat of the community. So the community awareness is here. We just have to make sure we tap into that individual that is the mouth of the community. And make sure that they spread that we're working together and what we're doing. Fun celebrations are continuous. You'll be amazed at what a barbecue will do when you can have a sign up and teach someone at the barbecue. So we have to think outside of the box. And I call that cougar courage. If we're going to have cougar courage, we're going to make sure that every community is represented. Everybody in our communities are communicating with the school district to gain the support that we need from the community in the school district. We can make a great change by the conversations we have and not boxing it into a parent meeting at the library. Let's go downtown and meet in Raiders if we need to. We don't have many places to eat, but we can go to Walmart, McDonald's, whatever we get, and make sure we get it. Sonics, don't let me forget Sonics. Okay, we're gonna meet in the parking lot at Sonics so that we can communicate how we need to. Our church rallies are very important. You make sure that wherever our people are, we're there. So my vision is I need to attend church service in the community. I need to make sure that I'm visible in our athletic activities. But academics is our focus. Everything else is addition. And we make that work how we make academics work.
Okay. Number 5. Lawrence County schools have lost many students that have left the district. They either moved out of the district, went to private schools, or homeschooled. Do you have a plan how to stop this exodus of students, and how about bringing them back?
Great question. The most vital aspect of student enrollment is parental concern. As your academics continue to improve, parents are less concerned about their child being lost in the shuffle. So we have to continue to strive for our aim, continue to meet and exceed the expectations in the community. But then we have to, again, look outside of the norm. Curriculum director and principals need to identify who we have that are homeschooled, who are our students that are in our community that we can do an unorthodox learning strategy. I shared we're working on a virtual plan that would afford those private school students that are already on a virtual platform to be included in the school district and having to do seat time limitedly in the school. Work through those kinks. Once you become an A school district, a lot of the regulations from the State Department are flexed, so you don't have to follow the normal expectations. So our LC3 meeting, listening, learning, and leading will cause us to be an A school, to be able to do various things to work with our community. That's gaining parental confidence, providing various opportunities, and seeking other grants to ensure that our CTE program, the programs that are normal to our community, are advocating and pushing our students to be able to succeed at home because everybody's not a college student. So a lot of our focus has to be around the whole community and not one portion of the community.
Before we can try to address what's going on with student enrollment, we must first ask what are the indicators that are causing the enrollment to decline. So some of the things that cause enrollment to decline can include saving order in schools, bullying, things with social emotional learning. Student achievement is always at the forefront of what we do every single day, but sometimes we let other things fall through the cracks, such as parental involvement when it comes down to students' social emotional learning. Or students leaving school because the curriculum is not rigorous enough. Or parents concerned that we're not preparing students to go to the next level, such as the collegiate level, or we're preparing them to go to be college and career ready. So I think it's just more so doing a parent survey to see what are the viewpoints or what are the perspectives as to what we're offering at Lawrence County School District. What are they offering at the homeschool or at the private school that we are not affording students to have? There has to be a reason. Once we find out those reasons, then we can address them accordingly. If it's something that can be addressed, I know a lot of times accountability has a lot to do with students being withdrawn, but that's state mandated. There's not a lot we can finagle out of that. But if it's things that we should have in place, such as safe and orderly schools, appropriate, relevant, rigorous curriculum, we can definitely address those. Character education, etiquette for social media, just things that students need to be successful in society and not just in the classroom. So sometimes it is very important to understand what are the indicators that are causing parents to withdraw their students from out of the curriculum of a public school setting. So we definitely need to address the indicators why.
I would have to agree with that. First, we have to find out the reasons why we're losing students. And once you find out those reasons, you can address those issues. I'll go back to what I said about athletics. As long as I can remember, Lawrence County has been competitive, especially in baseball. And my son, the kids he plays with here in Monticello, and there are people in this room who have kids who play there too. I've told some coaches that I know in area districts, I said, look, if we keep these kids together, y'all gonna be dealing with a powerhouse in a couple of years because these guys play ball together. One just recently won the state championship at the Little League World Series. And my son and his team a few years ago got second place in state. If we keep those guys together, we don't have to worry about losing kids. They're gonna be coming here because I suspect some of these guys we're losing them probably, like the baseball players and probably other sports too, probably losing them to BA, Park Lane, and also some public schools. Because coaches look for talent. They can do something to get them in their district and get them to play for them, they're gonna do it. So the more we build up our teams, keep our kids together, they're gonna wanna come here. Also academics. If we get to that A rating, that's not gonna be an issue anymore. People are gonna wanna come and move to Lawrence County so they can get their kids in our district. We wanna be in a position where we have to start turning them back, say, hey, we got too many. If you don't live here, you can't go to school here. We want this to be a source of pride, and we want people to be fighting to get into this district. And I think we've got all the elements to make that happen. But I would say, let's start with the athletics and then continue to focus on the academics.
I think my colleagues have some great suggestions, but my first suggestion would be simply to go and make sure that we survey the parents. Have a survey, have some information from every parent, every family that may have withdrawn before they withdraw. Ask them to do a survey so we can find out what are the reasons why they're withdrawing, what are some of the things that they're looking for that they may not find within our district, so that we can provide those things and also bring them back into our district. One of the things you can also consider, and which I say strongly consider, you must talk to the kids. A lot of times kids can encourage their parents to say when they don't want to say. It's important that we find out for those kids, why do you not want to stay in our district? What's going on? And I can tell you that in many cases, athletics are important. Yes, they are. But many of our kids may not even be actually playing football, basketball, and so you have a good population of kids who don't even touch the field. But there are some of the ones who feel disenchanted. They feel separated. So we need to figure out what's going on with them. That's why the social emotional piece is so important. Because sometimes kids may feel like they're ostracized. They may actually feel like Dr. Hicks mentioned, there may be bullying situations that's going on that we may not even know anything about. So we have to get more information. Secondly, it's important that we provide more opportunity for scholars for 21st century learning. Y'all, project-based learning, have an opportunity to deal with computers, to deal with robotics. I looked at the CTE program, and it's a great program. You guys have a metal fabrication, you have technology classes, but scholars may want something more. We need to find out what else can they do and what else do they want that make them stay here and make families stay here, that we offer something different than they may offer at a private school. We know that we support, and typically, public schools have a higher criteria as far as meeting accountability, so that we know that when they graduate from a school, public school, that they're at a certain level. Parents want to know that. We have to be about the business of telling our own story as well. We have to be very strategic, and what we do and how we provide an open door and an environment where people feel welcome in our school district. That's very important, and that's not to assume that you don't.
That's 2 minutes. I'm sorry, Mr. Lampkin. All right, this is question 6. There is an increased rate of anxiety in students due to state testing and assessments. How high of a priority is this to you on your agenda, and what are your thoughts on how to decrease anxiety in students?
As you can tell, I'm a big proponent of students first and having conversations with connecting with kids. It's important that we provide services through our social emotional learning. There are standards that deal with social emotional learning that are effective to ensure that scholars can work through their emotions. We should have projects within our classrooms or procedures in our classroom that help them to de-escalate. So if I was to ask you all to breathe in 4 times, 4 counts, and then exhale and relax, those are ways that we can help with our mindfulness and get ourselves centered and settled. That's important for kids to do that because we don't know what kids go through when they come before they come to school, or what anxiety they may be facing while they're in school. So that helps to increase anxiety when they're taking assessments. So it's important to find ways to help them to address those assessments. But also, please keep in mind, as of yesterday, there was a conversation around doing away with particular assessments. That's Biology 1, English 2, Algebra 1, and U.S. History, and focusing more on ACT. Now, we know that that may be a consideration. Assessments are still not going in place, so we have to ensure that we teach our scholars how to address and how to handle any anxiety, because they're going to have anxiety when they grow up. They're going to have anxiety when they get that job. They're going to have anxiety when they're with the boss that may not like them, because that's possible. They're going to have anxiety when they're at science and the person just did not act correctly. So they have to learn how to deal with the anxiety, and we have to be very strategic and conscientious on how we teach them, because that affects everything that they do. We want to teach kids how to have a voice, but we want to make sure they know how to use their voice appropriately and in a safe way.
I think the first thing we can do, that obviously we're doing our best every day, is to prepare students adequately for the state test, give them everything they need, provide instruction based on the standards, based on the test blueprints, build them up and give them everything we possibly can to help them do well on the test. We also need to let them know, hey, it's important, but it's not the end of the world if you don't necessarily meet your growth goal or your level. All students learn in different ways. Not every student is going to be a 4 or a 5, but we should celebrate small wins when we get them. Sometimes a student that don't expect to perform well, maybe because they may have a learning disability, or they may just maybe they're not as confident. Those students sometimes will back down and act like they don't care, and they won't participate because they feel defeated. It's our goal, it's our job to find out what the issues are, and we can only do that by knowing our students, by talking to them, by getting in there, and it's hard to do sometimes. Especially I'm at the middle school level. Middle school kids don't like to open up to adults very often. And when they'll open up to their friends, and it's not always productive in the ways they do open up. So it's a tough job as educators, and educators working with parents, working together, in there knowing these kids. I think we can do a lot to sort of cut back on that test anxiety. That's a good question, because it's not one that was really in front of my mind when we came into this tonight. But it's definitely something that we need to address, and talking to the kids is the way we do that, whether it's the school counselor, school principal, support staff, whoever it is, whoever they feel comfortable with. It's vitally important to form relationships with your students so that they will open up to you. That's what I think. So I'll just recap. Prepare them, kind of de-escalate the seriousness. It is serious. I don't mean to suggest that it's not. Let them know, hey, you may not meet your goal on this one, but don't let it get you down. Continue to encourage them. And realize that everybody's 100%. It looks different. I may put in 100% and score a 2A. You may put in 100% and make a 5. Celebrate every victory, every win for every student.
That was terrific. Thank you, sir.
I think in order to address student anxiety, first I just want to say I'm a proponent in accountability. Everyone has to be held accountable for the job and the work that we do every day, and every student has to be held accountable for what they come to school to learn so that we can know that we're teaching adequately and providing the best learning environment for students. Anxiety is caused by a situation where you're put in a situation where you're doing something out of the norm. This is not something comfortable. This is something that is not your usual behavior. If we can establish a high accountability climate and culture for the district throughout every department, that will become a norm. You don't want to create test anxiety on students just because now it's test season, it's spring. We don't want to do that. If everyone does high accountability work starting in August, that becomes a comfort and a norm for the students. If the teachers are teaching to the level every single day, the students are working to the level every single day, when it's time to take a test, you're going to take the test to the level every single time you take it. So it is very important that we don't establish anxious situations for students that cause anxiety because it's time to take the test. It's time to take the test every single day. And every time we provide instruction, we should be progress monitoring to make sure students are on track. We don't want to wait till it's a summative assessment or a benchmark to decide the student is not on target. That's when intervention is supposed to kick in. We're supposed to already know the student is not on track before a summative or a benchmark time or an state test. So it's just more so making the climate and culture of the school, the district, just high accountability for everyone. We work towards the goal every single day and not just during test taking time.
When we create a sense of comfort, persons lose anxiety. If you're anxious and that right person stands beside you, there are 71 adults in this room. Everybody can't calm you down. But there's one person that can stand in front of you and that can create a sense of comfort for you no matter what the situation is. That sense of comfort has to be created in that classroom with that teacher. High school, middle school, or elementary school. If they have 7 teachers or if they have 1. When they go into that room has to be a place that is conducive for them to learn. They have to be able to say they don't understand. A lot of times, our students are not able to say they don't understand, which leads to more anxiety. So the social and emotional support portion of this is very vital. Our teachers have to be trained effectively and efficiently, and they have to implement with fidelity those particular skills and opportunities. Coming through the door, expectations have to be set. The students need to know that excellence is expected without excuses. And if excellence is expected without excuses daily, then that will not be something that is outside of the norm. And if they begin to feel anxious, that teacher can speak a word that is soothing, that creates that culture that is called Cougar Courage, to make sure that you know your students and you know their capabilities. That goes to data review, and it drives all of your directions. If you listen, you will learn how to lead your students. That's all.
Thank you. All right, question number 7. What is the process for non-renewing a district employee or principal who has worked in the school district for years?
Process of non-renewal. What an awesome opportunity to discuss. It depends on the position the person is in, the time frame. But if you follow the expectations, that is to identify those areas of deficit, have a candid conversation with that particular individual, create a path of improvement with a time check to make sure that that particular individual has an opportunity to correct those deficiencies with support. The support can be internal as well as external, depending on the severity of the deficit. Once that particular plan has been completed, if there is no improvement, or if there's no improvement shown, have a conversation with that particular individual and their support person to see if there was enough time, if he or she needs more time, if this is ability or just a desire not to do. Then we would identify, well, what are this particular individual's strengths? This particular individual may be the best at baseball or horrible at football. So we may need to move them first. But if that person is not conducive for any area, and they have been moved, the corrective action plan has been completed, and they have failed it, we want to make sure we err on the side of the student, not the adult. We want to make sure that we can work and support the growth of our students with proficient educators. And I will tell them goodbye.
I think it is very important to set high expectations for teachers and understanding what their goals are going to be when you set at the beginning of the year, providing their professional development. It is very important that you set deadlines and goals for those teachers with progress monitoring. In the event that you have a teacher that's not on track to meet the goals that you set for them in small intervals, you need to go ahead and provide intervention support for the teacher. You need to have conversations with those teachers. If the teacher is deliberately not doing what they're supposed to do in an insubordinate type way, that is not a qualification for a plan of improvement. That is insubordination, that is refusal to work. We're not going to fail children, we will be at home. It is more so doing the job that you come to do every day. Now, if you're struggling, you need some assistance, you need help, support, we're going to supply that. If you need resources, we're going to supply that. If we are putting students in jeopardy, whether it's for safety or we're not teaching because we don't want to come and do any work, we're not going to move you to another area. If you're not teaching in one area, you're not going to teach in another area. It is very important that we come to do a job every single day, and we're not going to put children in jeopardy because you're an adult. We will not allow students to suffer because of adults. We are going to make sure that everyone comes to a job every single day, and everybody's going to pull weight. If there's something that needs to be done, you need assistance, we will work on that. Now, if the teacher is working really hard to do what she needs to do, we will continue to support that teacher. We will provide support from the curriculum department, because I know in our district, our curriculum department, we go in classrooms. I'm in a classroom currently. I'm teaching science from the 5th grade and 8th grade level, because guess why? Modeling is the best teacher. You would never want to put a teacher in a position that they're not qualified to teach. And I know sometimes we have vacancies and we say, oh, you have that on your license. Well, guess what? If she's not qualified to teach that does not mean put that teacher in the classroom. So as far as if we're still progress monitoring, we're still providing support, and this teacher's still not improving with adequate resources, we may need to move towards non-renewal. Because at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we put children first instead of adults.
I agree with one of the things Dr. Hicks said. In certain cases, we're not even going through a teacher improvement plan. It's absolutely termination. You know, if you've got blatant insubordination, if there's inappropriate, something going on with students or, you know, something like that, there's no improvement plan needed for that. It's just, you got to go, because you can't have people working with our students who are not doing what they're supposed to do. But in most cases, the goal should be to retain good teachers. If they're not quite where they need to be, I think as administrators, we should try to do what we can to get them there if they have a desire to remain in the profession. Offer assistance through professional development, through observations and feedback, and set some goals where you can monitor their progress over time. Are they getting where they need to be? Are they showing a willingness to improve? Again, we need to retain teachers. The legislature has been meeting in Jackson lately talking about PERS and how they're going to fund it going forward, because there's more teachers leaving the profession than are coming into it. So we're not necessarily in a position to be gunning to get rid of teachers. And I don't think having that kind of atmosphere is productive or conducive to good morale on campuses. I don't want teachers coming in feeling like they have to walk on eggshells and everything they do is going to be scrutinized to the level where they may be let go or may lose their job if they don't cross every T and dot every I. But if they're not performing, it does need to be dealt with, and it could lead to non-renewal. Typically, you know, you've been doing this through the course of a year. When you get toward the end of the year, it shouldn't come as a big surprise if the teacher's not meeting tomorrow. And I think it's a good practice to, if it comes to that, try to get it done in a timely manner to where that teacher has an opportunity to go out and seek other employment. Because we're not trying to ruin people financially, but that's how I think it should be done.
My colleague said many things that are customary in most districts. You definitely want to make sure you observe. Okay, so we have a professional growth system that we use, which is a document that's provided through Mississippi Department of Education. And it's simple. It's designed to hold teachers accountable, but also nurture their growth. So by following it, you can definitely determine based on the criteria whether teachers are being effective or not. And if you observe, or if you see a certain, and this is just traditional teaching, but if you see where there's a teacher that needs support, like everyone said up here, you need to support the teacher to develop them. You want to observe, you want to provide feedback. A lot of times, principals or people may not, they may observe but never give them effective and frequent feedback. You want to continue, you want to make sure you give them effective feedback. It should be a situation where you only seeing or observing a teacher once or twice a year. It should be where you're observing that teacher and present in those schools enough that you know what's going on. Now, of course, please understand, if there's an egregious behavior where there's blatant disrespect or behavior that threatens a kid sexually or any type of immorality, anything that's moral, unethical, that puts a child in harm, it is our duty to ensure that we have that teacher escorted out of here in handcuffs if need be. Because we have to make sure we provide a safe environment. But it's also our duty to hold teachers accountable in a loving way. Like everyone said up here, we know that it's hard to get good teachers. No one wants to feel like they're under a microscope. However, you are expected to do your job and do it effectively. And by modeling that yourself, again, we must be the models of what they expect. So it's very important that you have a system, and the system has already been said because, it's, like I said, it's customary throughout most districts, that you follow the system to hold teachers accountable. When they are doing the things that's necessary to grow, you want to ensure that you continue to support them. But it's not good to dance and limit. It should be one teacher move from one school to another school when you know that teacher is not good. Don't dance and limit in your district. Go ahead and get that teacher out of here because you need to make room for somebody else. God will always plan and always provide. That has always been my motto as a principal. For 9 years, I had to do that with teachers, and I promise you, every time I was blessed with someone to come in who did a better job than the one that I had to let go. Because that's what God does for all of us. And I know that we say sometimes we shouldn't include God, but that's who.
I'm so sorry, that was 2 minutes.
Fine.
Next question, number 8. Many educators are leaving the profession and the district. In your opinion, how can we encourage them to stay?
Say that one more time.
Many educators are leaving the profession and the district. In your opinion, how can we encourage them to stay?
First, where teachers are celebrated. That's number one. You have to, but also still hold them accountable. But you have to ensure that they're in an environment where they're celebrated and that we recognize the work that they do. We also have to provide the proper professional development. It should be some type of mentoring system where teachers come in and an induction system. That when teachers come into your school district, they have a partner, someone that can help them along the way to gain valuable skills. Most new teachers or young teachers, they leave within the first year because they don't have anyone to connect with. So it's very important that you have someone alongside with them to show them the ropes. There should be someone to help them even connect to the kids and to our community. When they have to deal with scholars who may not be the best, we have to ensure that we provide them with ways to deal with classroom management. So you just don't want to kick them out in the first glimpse of something and say that they're no good. You want to encourage and continue to support them along the way. Use the PGS system to encourage and to help them with proper feedback so they become better. Give them the proper professional development so they can be better. Go around and give them a smile and tell them that, you're doing well, but also give them an honest conversation when they're not, so that you can give them steps in order to become better. It's not just about the numbers. Numbers are great. Statistics are great, but you also have to make relationships with teachers too. That's why teachers stay when they feel that they have been connected to the leader. Teachers leave not because of the building, not because of the community, but not oftentimes because of the leadership. So you want to make sure that you hold teachers accountable, but you hold them accountable in a loving way. But you also make sure that everybody carries their own weight.
One statistic I remember hearing way back, and they're going to know this, is that most teachers leave the profession within 5 years because of the lack of administrative support. If principals don't know how to do it, we need to train our principals on how to provide that support, especially for new teachers. I want to go back to what I said earlier. Treat them as professionals. Listen to them. Try to meet their needs if you can within reason. And that's just a few ways we can offer support to new teachers, not only new teachers, but for veteran teachers. And for the teachers who are busting it every day, especially the tested area teachers who are getting it done, give them the recognition they deserve. Don't put them on Friday duty every year. Give them that Monday duty that most teachers seem to want. There's so many holidays on Mondays, fall on Mondays, so that's a good duty spot. Recognize them for their hard work. Some may be working harder than others. The ones that are not working as hard as some others, but maybe what they do, what they teach is not as costly to the district in terms of test scores. Get those teachers involved. Anybody can teach vocabulary. A PE coach can do vocabulary. A non-tested area person can do that. Take some of the weight off their shoulders by spreading it out. Because let's face it, a lot of teachers who are not in tested areas are just not held to the same standard because we don't give a benchmark for what they do necessarily. I'm not saying they have it easy because working with kids is never easy. But I think it's beneficial, it's advantageous to take some of the weight off of the tested area people who are working hard and getting it done. And you're not going to do that unless you're talking to them and treating them as professionals, finding out what they need, and doing your best to get them what they need.
Teacher retention is at the forefront of what we should focus on. A lot of times we focus on teacher recruitment and we forget about the teachers that are already on staff. I know one thing that drives teachers out of the classroom are the pressures of accountability areas and tested areas. That is just a struggle for all teachers. So I think it is very important that you acknowledge teacher performance, you lighten the workload as much as possible. We want to make sure the workload is shared. I know one thing in our district that we do as far as teacher retention, we have tied a merit-based system incentive to the tested area teachers. Teachers are given a certain dollar amount attached to every student that they move towards proficiency, towards growth, and every student that is low performing, they have a dollar amount attached to each student. And what they do is they have that multiplied, and they get a bonus check at the end of every school year. So it is very important that we attach something to the teacher performance. It doesn't always have to be monetary, but teachers love money. People love money, there's nothing wrong with it. But it's more so acknowledging what teachers do every day, being collaborative, open communication, supporting teachers. I know discipline is a big issue. Teachers come to work to teach, they don't come to work to control classrooms. So it is very important that if they say, I need a student removed, their student has to come out. And principals have to support that. I know sometimes discipline can be daunting, but that is a task that has to be taken care of. So teacher support, merit-based systems, and just overall collaboration would help with teacher retention.
Listen, learn from it, and lead. When we listen to our teachers, we will learn what their needs are, and we can lead them to the support. One of the main things that when you're listening to teachers, you'll hear they're feeling alone. So make sure that they are part of a group, a team. That particular team can be their grade level, it can be their specific subject, or it can be a professional association that's on campus. MPE, MAE, NFT, whichever one of those associations are supportive for your particular community. Within those organizations, as well as within your particular system, make sure that those professional opportunities are constant. The more people go and grow, they will not feel the need to leave. If they're able to attend professional development, if we're bringing in speakers for the different conferences, if we have someone to come in and support them and re-energize them, they just need that extra push. Continuing education partnerships. If we partner with University of Southern Mississippi or the best college, William Carey University, to make sure that teachers have the opportunity to further their education with some type of discount, those things would be an incentive outside of the norm. Build a National Board Certified Teacher cohort on your campus so that those teachers can go toward National Board Certification together. They don't feel so alone. The expectation for excellence is before them, and they're going to get an additional amount of money on their checks on the next year once they complete that program. So making sure they know they're afforded the opportunity to grow, and you ensure that that growth is internal. Growing our own helps us to keep those two now. We have several people that we know that are assistants, that are in the area that want to be coaches. You know, they said those that are here, we'll make sure we keep them, grow, and they'll continue to do it. Listen.
Thank you, sir. How can you bring more academic programs to our campuses? More electives such as art, higher academic courses such as physics, etc.
The opportunity to bring advanced courses is unique at this time in Mississippi because of the virtual platform, because of the community college collaboration or the senior college collaboration, where you can have a teacher on site that can do it virtually, and just to have someone on the campus there to be a monitor. So there are vast opportunities. We would have to research to determine what would be the best opportunities for Lawrence County High School, what are the things that our students desire, and then offer those things. We have to make sure that what we're offering, they actually desire, because a lot of times we will offer particular courses and opportunities that may not be the desire of the student body, and it will look like we're failing with the advanced courses. We just didn't seek the right direction for the advanced courses. So there are various opportunities that we would seek with our curriculum director and our team to make sure that we afford those opportunities to our students that would not be costly to the district.
We can attempt to bring more academic programs to the school district. It's kind of tied in with teacher recruitment. We have to have teachers that are certified in those areas. It is very important that we have those recruitment events in which we are recruiting teachers that may not be classically trained teachers. They may be they may not have a certification. They may be mathematics majors or science majors or music majors, and we try to draft them into the profession. Definitely encouraging partnerships with higher level institutions in which they are growing those teachers strategically to come to Lawrence County School District. It is more so very important that you would have these teachers in place with the specific programs that you can achieve some type of accountability for, such as dual enrollment. You can do accelerated programs, different CTE programs that you can get through different endorsements. You also want to open an opportunity for professional development for teachers that are already on staff, in which the district may want to fund teachers to go get those additional certification endorsement areas. And that will allow the students to have more strategic planning when it comes to curriculum at the high school level.
Ideally, bring in more electives like art and civics. It's a difficult thing to do sometimes because a lot of times it's tied to money and funding. You've got to allocate so much money towards your tested areas or your areas that are required according to the accreditation standards, particularly K through 8. Students have to have so much physical education time per week. They have to have some kind of art, or I forget what they call it, fine art or whatever it is. So those things you have to make sure they get done, because the State Department is going to compare the accreditation standards to your master schedule and making sure it's getting done. But certainly there should be some effort to see what you can do to make those things happen. Outside of that, especially at the elementary level, you have parents who want to come in and volunteer. Some parent who may be artistically inclined want to come in for 30 minutes a week and go over some art lessons with the students. So this is, of course, after you've done the proper background checks and you've vetted them and all that. That's one avenue you can do. It'd be great to get more parent involvement at the secondary levels, middle schools and high schools. Of course, the problem there is those students won't go home and give the note to the parents saying, hey, we want you to come to school and participate. But, you know, wherever there's money where we can do it, we won't interfere or contradict the accreditation standards, I think it's a good thing to do. But finding those people can also be a challenge. There are some art teachers out there, there's some music teachers out there, but when you get into some of the other sort of exotic endorsements, it may be a little hard to find them, but we definitely should make the effort.
Virtual learning is on a new uprise, and I know that here in Lawrence County there's one-to-one technology. So if you have programs like Edgenuity, if you have programs like PD 360 for teachers, you can help develop those teachers who may need to learn how to do some of those artistic courses. You can give them a way to be endorsed through some online pieces and some online platforms. For scholars, you can use programs like Edgenuity, like Great Results. They actually offer several different courses that are AP courses. They also offer dual credit courses. But the main way that we ensure that our scholars get that type of opportunity is partnered with our community colleges. And I know Colin is a community college that we partner with here, but it doesn't have to be the only one. You can have multiple colleges that you have an MOU with to ensure that you offer our scholars, for those scholars who need instruction in a face-to-face environment, that they can have that environment. It also is very important to have a fine art. Y'all, fine arts is essential because fine arts helps to refine scholars while it ensures that scholars use the information that they learn to become better. So I'm a fine art person, and I'm gonna tell you, it's something that we need to make sure our scholars are more well-rounded. I guarantee you have an effective fine art program, you have a good AP and dual credit courses. Some of the scholars who are leaving trying to get that opportunity in your private schools will stay within your public schools and stay here in Lawrence County. So it's essential that we have those partnerships with those different companies and with those different schools to ensure that we are able to do that. Use your federal dollars to help pay for your AP courses and help pay for your dual credit courses, so that those families who may not be able to afford all of your federal dollars can definitely support that piece so they don't have to come out of pocket and have to do a credit course.
This is question 10. Students who are problematic frequently cause chaos for other students and faculty, and it leaves everyone on edge. For those students who are frequent flyers for discipline, who are sent to the Impact Center repeatedly, how do you propose dealing with that?
First, there should be policies and guidelines in place that we enforce. I truly believe that you have the whole teachers accountable, but you also have this whole scholars accountable. It is very important that a scholar does not sit in our classroom and disrupt the instructional opportunity for other kids. However, you do need to find out what's going on with that particular scholar. So it's important that you have a teacher support team, often that you do your RTI for behavior. You should have a behavior therapist, someone that's going to go in and talk with that scholar what's going on, because again, they come from all kinds of situations from home that we may not understand it, but it's a manifestation of their behavior in our village. It's not okay, we're not saying it's okay, but we definitely want to touch and figure out what's going on with that child so we can provide them the proper intervention to become better. Now, if they do not become better and they're continuing with that type of behavior, we have to utilize our alternative school, but alternative school doesn't have to be punitive only. It should provide an opportunity where kids can still get quality instruction, but they have some type of recidivism where they can learn how to become better and they can have a better understanding of what their behaviors are so they can improve upon their behavior. But we must still hold them accountable. That's very important. And also connect with the parents. Find out what's going on with the parents. A lot of times the parents need support in that process. Have parenting classes. Partner with your community, city officials, so they can support with parenting classes and other outside agencies to give parents what they need to continue to support their children. But mainly build a relationship with the kids. To give the teachers a good foundation of classroom management so they can work with those scholars. But at the same time, too, hold the scholars accountable. Have a good handbook. Have a handbook that ensure that it is actually being followed, and that we hold those teachers and hold anyone else who's supposed to follow the handbook, that we hold them accountable for doing that. But also, if they need support, that we give them proper support so they can hold scholars accountable and give teachers the support they need for classroom management.
First of all, in my opinion, a student who's continually disrupting class has got to come out of that class. I tell my current staff, and I've always said this, if they're disrupting your instruction and preventing others from learning, send them to me. I'm not going to suspend them every time. I'm not going to put them in ISS every time or alternative ed, but they need to come out of your class that period. Don't let them continue to disrupt class. And supporting the teachers in that is a key element for preventing those students with behavior issues from disrupting the instruction. There are other, if it gets to a point to where it's continually in every class, then you have the option to put them in alternative ed if it's appropriate. If they're a student with an IEP or a 504, of course, you have to follow those guidelines. It may be appropriate to put it in a behavioral plan and do the FBA, Functional Behavioral Assessment. some cases, it works just to find that one staff member that the student will respond to, and they do respect enough to listen to them, and they can offer the guidance they need. Reaching out to parents is absolutely an essential part of this. You have to make contact with parents to say, hey, we've got issues here, we need to work on them. But a lot of times you find out parents are dealing with the same issues at home. And you know, it's easy to say, hey, my kid's not going to do that. Well, every home is not your home, just like every home is not our home. Everybody doesn't have the same set of circumstances. We have to remember that. And our jobs as educators is to be partners with the community, with parents, and help them reach the goal we all want to get to. I believe everybody wants their children to do well and be successful, but we can't control the circumstances we're in all the time. But disrupting instruction, we can't allow that. That destroys the mission completely.
I would like to say that interrupting the instructional process cannot happen. If we have students that are continually interrupting instruction, they have to come out of the classroom, as we already stated. In the event that you have a student that is disrupting the process, I would like to know, is that student disrupting the process just in one classroom or across the board? Is it one teacher that they're not doing well in, or is it all the teachers they're not doing well in? I would like to know if the student has some type of academic deficiencies in which they are struggling and they cannot sit in the classroom appropriately like the other students because they cannot follow along. In the event that this is taking place, we need to make sure that we're providing instruction, intense intervention for these students to help them to catch up to the other students. In the event that the student is continuously disrupting instruction, that is not on the teacher, that is on the principal to figure out what's the next step. Teachers should not be left up to trying to figure out how do we get a student to stop interrupting instruction. That is on the building level administration to get in touch with parents to make sure that if a behavior plan is put in place, if the student needs to go for IUP committee, if the student needs RTI, that needs to be left up to building level administration. Once that is taken care of, if that's not working, the student may need to be put up for a hearing for alternative processing, and then the student can maybe get intervention through that route. But the interruption of the instructional program cannot happen, and we want to make sure that students are held accountable because we have to have instruction take place. We will not allow 30 students to lose because of one. It is very important that we make sure that we consider all students instead of just one student that's interrupting instruction.
I think the question stated going to the impact center repeatedly, so that is the alternative student.
Yeah.
So that particular student has surpassed all of the preliminaries and are attending alternative school based on their deficiencies. As an alternative school director, the most important piece of this is your entrance meeting with the parents and the student and the creation of the individual student plan. The individual student plan is created based on the student's deficit at the alternative school. That student should not be released from the alternative school if those particular deficits have not been improved upon in a manner that allows them to go back, which includes one-on-one support, which includes behavioral support, which includes pull-outs, and this particular process is intensive. And according to our state regulations, the parents are required to be a part of that process with the counseling piece. So the parents would have to be on site, and as I completed, they were. And the only way that the child will be released back to the school is if they met those particular requirements, and it would be on that specific deficit. If that student was returned to the high school on a probationary period, which means they did not have to go back to the office. If they acted up, they came back to the alternative school to remain there for the remainder of the year. So the expectations have to change. The implementation has to change to ensure that the student's field of disruption disappears. When the student feels that they have control, they're going to continue to try to control the situation. If the teacher is not effective, going back to data, looking at how many times, who it was with, when they did that, to make sure if it's high school, rearrange that particular student schedule, because in high school, there are opportunities for teachers that are not aligned to support. And you may have to, in the elementary school, determine how you work that. Depends on what age range the impact center is for, and those particulars will follow.
Thank you. Question number 11. What are your plans to better boost school security and student safety? Would you consider fencing in campuses, purchase portable metal detectors for games and emergency matters, or retentive film on windows and doors?
That's a long question, so I'm going to have to make sure I break that down.
Yeah.
School safety. I was director of school safety and had to ensure that all of our campuses were fenced. So we went through a project to gain fencing and security. We did write a grant with the United States government to receive a grant to assist in security. But fencing is number one. Entryways, one entrance is vital to your campuses. Make sure that they enter in one area. And that is with metal detectors at the high school, because in this day and time, those particulars are needed to make sure that we check our students and make sure that there are no particular weapons on campus going in, and sometimes at the middle school, depending on the discipline and what's going on in the community. So we need to make sure that we know what our students are, what they're capable of. We can't be in denial about what our students are being exposed to every day. TikTok and all of these online platforms are giving so many unworthy ideas in our students' heads, and they're bringing those to campus. And so security, write a grant for SRO to make sure we have additional SROs on each campus.
I think training is the number one aspect of school safety. Understanding the crisis plan on each campus, the occupational safety plans, and making sure the teachers know what they say, the staff know what they say, we know what the codes are. And that's at the elementary, middle school, and high school, because as we all know, we've had school shootings, school intrusion at all three levels. We cannot isolate it just to one level. So I would think metal detectors, fencing, those are necessities that have to happen. Simply because you never know when it can be an intruder on campus already. The students and the staff need to be trained. We need to know what the codes are, we need to know where the exits are, we need to know what to do, because sometimes the intruder may be in your classroom. What do you do then? We need to make sure that our security officers are all school safety certified and that they have the adequate training. It needs to be ongoing training. We need to make sure that we have training taking place with each local emergency management system for Lawrence County. We have to make sure that our on-site principals, our on-site safety security are understanding what does this look like if this to actually happen. So when we come to metal detectors, fencing, windows, plexiglass, we have to make sure that that is a non-negotiable as far as funding. It has to be set aside because it can't happen anywhere. So I think training and funding for school safety is a priority.
I'm glad that question came up, because if we don't address student safety and school safety, then nothing else we do matters. You don't care how much your kid learns in school if we can't get them to school and home from school every day safe. The way you send them is the way we should send them back. I'm lucky to be in a district right now that has a great safety program. Our school resource officer goes around every building every day and just checks for something as simple as are the doors locked. I think the shooting that occurred in Uvalde, Texas occurred because the teacher, it was one of the closing days of school or toward the end of the year, and she left the door propped open, because that's what teachers do sometimes if they're moving things in and out. Well, that's a red flag. The doors need to be closed. It should be as difficult for an intruder to enter the building as possible. A locked door will at least give you a heads up in a lot of cases. Other things, of course, we do our drills periodically. Drills are not always going to be perfect. In fact, you want to find as many errors in your drill as you can, because that shows you the areas that you need to work on. If it's a perfect drill every time, that means it's staged, it's orchestrated. You're not learning anything from that. You need to do those periodically so that you can spot your errors, spot your deficiencies. Staff members need to know the comprehensive school safety plan. We have a lot of subs that come in and off, not enough subs, by the way, because I think we all have a shortage on subs. But subs need to know the plan. If they don't know the plan, you need to have the teacher who's willing to step up and say, hey, Ms. Smith or whoever, you're with me, you're going to be my person today, because I know that you haven't learned the plan yet. You've been here long enough. People have to step up. They have to lock doors. They have to vet people who are coming into the buildings. We don't always want to confront somebody we don't recognize, but hey, ask them, hey, who you are? Can I help you with something? It's not just school shootings either. It's people bringing drugs into schools, and we have to address all those things.
I think fencing, and doors, plexiglass, and all of those things and measures are important. But I also know that you have to be physically sound to do those things, so you have to consider your funding, and funding should always be geared to having a safe and orderly school. Like my colleague said up here, it's important that when kids come here that they feel safe, and as a parent, you want to feel safe that you send your child over to our school here in Lawrence County. So it's important that we have those things in place in order to do that. Training is definitely one of the utmost. And part of that training, you have to also empower your principals and your front office staff to de-escalate. Because it's not all the time someone's busting in with a gun. But it may be sometimes that someone is escalating there and really heightened in their whatever is going on with their kid, and it escalates from there. So you want to have proper training with your staff. You want to have continued training. You also want to have your SROs or your police officers here, campus police here, constantly in training. And I'm not sure whether you all believe in those individuals being armed, but I think you should in these days and time. I think it's important that your SROs and your campus police have a firearm because they have to be willing to stop the threat. And that's important. And I think that has to be also communicated to our community. That's the expectations here in our district to ensure that we provide safety above all things and that we are willing to do what's necessary to provide our staff here with a feeling of safety, with providing our officers with guns if need be, if that's not your plan, because at the end of the day, sometimes people go through all kinds of things. You don't know what people are mentally, where they are. So we have to be able to address that. They also want to walk into a church with a gun. So be sure that people could walk into a school with guns. So we want to make sure that we are able to answer that threat.
Thank you. Question number 2. What investment do you have in our school district? Are you planning to make a long-term commitment to our district, or is this just a stepping stone to move your career forward?
I'm so glad you asked that question. I am one that I'm a creature of habit in the sense that when I commit and you commit to me, I stay for a long time. I have been in Macomb School District for 20 plus years. My heart is to ensure that the work is completed. I want to stay until I see the work is completed. Sure, I have 25 years in, but I certainly would love to do 10 to 15 years here in Lawrence County if allowed to. So please know, it's not about putting a notch on my belt, because in truthful, our kids are much more than that. And if you're a true leader, you will understand that continuity, consistency, and someone who's going to be here for the long haul is important. Now, with that being said, we also have to make sure that this is a family and that we work together. It's important that when we all are here and we're doing, we want to have disagreements. But at the same time, too, we should be able to have those disagreements and have honest conversations around it. And we support. We should not talk against your own school district. Now, does that mean that you would like everything that I say or do? Certainly not. But I would definitely have an open door so we can have a conversation around whatever it is. However, I'm here for the long haul. That's just who I am. That's how I'm built.
As I've mentioned several times already, my investment in this district is sitting right over there. I'm going to be here in the district anyway, whether I'm selected for this position or not, because he's going to graduate from here eventually from the high school, and I'm going to be here to support him either as a parent or as a superintendent or both. And I'm willing to stay here. He's got 7 more years till he graduates. I'm in my 21st year, so I've got 3 or 4 more years left anyway before I can retire. And ideally, I'd like to work until he graduates, at least from high school. So longevity, I think that answers that question. Yes, if the board would want to keep me here if they select me, yes, I'd absolutely love to be here and stay, remain a part of this district until that time.
I think consistency and longevity for me is just based on what you came to do. I want to come to the Lawrence County School District to fulfill a purpose of helping you all achieve the mission and vision that you set forth, and to making sure that children have everything they need. I've been in the Hazelwood City School District going on 10 years, and if you know anything about the district, it is not an easy stay. When I came to the district, we were in F, and we had no teachers. When I came, we had about 30 vacancies just at the elementary school level. We had teachers assistants serving in classrooms, and we didn't have any certified staff, okay? So I said that to say, we went from an F with 30 vacancies to a B with a full staff. So it is very important to be consistent in what you came to do. I came to make a difference, and like I said, I didn't know that when I got to the district, my investment was to the children who were there, because what I have also learned is that it's very important to have someone with a voice who has some sense to represent children. So I think in Lawrence County School District, I can also be that voice for those children here to take them to the next level. And I'll be here as long as you allow me to be.
Investment in our children. Their opportunity to grow, their opportunity to succeed, their opportunity to be citizens that give back and that help the community to grow. How long will I be here? One of the things that I've said continuously is I did not apply for any other superintendency, and there's a slew of them because there was only one place that I went, and that's Lawrence County. And that means that I'm invested to be here as long as the Lawrence County community will allow me and afford me the opportunity to lead you into that A status and to sustain it as we continue to move forward with cool courage.
All right, number 13, what is your educational philosophy?
If students are confidentially, creatively, and courageously exposed to education, they will soar above all expectations.
My philosophy is that all students have the ability to become someone in society based on their talents, their gifts, and their interests. It is very important that we embrace the student as a whole and not just what they bring to the table to meet accountability standards. We have to make sure that we are celebrating students for their strengths, whether it's academic, whether it's athletic, whether it's some type of fine art. It has to be celebrated. We have to expose students. So my philosophy is exposing students to their gifts and their interests and their abilities so that they can become successful on a global level.
I remember well writing an educational philosophy in education several years ago, and I referenced in that paper, State of the Union address in 2011, President Obama said that in South Korea, teachers are known as nation builders. And that really kind of got my attention. I said, teachers are nation builders. That means their students are going to be the ones leading the nation eventually. And so when we have students come into our classrooms, into our schools, we have to realize that's our future. Eventually, we're all going to retire, at least we hope we are. And if we're not putting the investment into those kids and building them up, look, if they don't work, we're not going to get Social Security. We're not going to be able to live in the future. So we have to recognize the value that our students have. They're not only our present, but they're our future, and we've got to put the tools in them to make them successful in the future.
My philosophy is steeped in reaching, teaching, touching, and empowering leaders for tomorrow. Our scholars are our leaders, but if we're not connecting to our scholars and we're not ensuring that we're there, we provide instruction that is directed for them and helping them to understand what their future can be, and listening to them and talking to them while we still empower those teachers and while we empower the whole system and build a system for success, then we're not doing what's necessary to ensure that the scholars are successful. So my philosophy is simple. All means all. Teach them all the time. Ensure that you give all you have to every scholar because they are our future. And without us doing the work that we have to do as teachers and educators, our nation will not be able to thrive. So it's important that we continue to work and we continue with all that we have in us because that's our calling, and that's my calling.
Number 14, how will you ensure students are the center of everything at the school level and district level?
Say that one more time.
How will you ensure students are at the center of everything at the school level and the district level?
And it's important to connect with teachers, connect with students. We have to talk with students. We have to empower teachers to talk with students, build relationships with students. Principals should build relationships with their students. And central office should build relationships with their students. So, as a superintendent, it should not be an environment where the superintendent is not known in each school. Superintendent should be walking around and getting to know and talk to the children. Have a student advisory committee so you can hear the concerns of those scholars, so that you know what funding and what support you need to put in place to ensure that the scholars are getting what they need, but also encourage them and continue to support teachers as they continue to support those scholars. It's important that they see that you model the behavior that you expect, and that you are ensuring that other folks are holding folks accountable so they get the best. So it's important that they know that they are the center of any and all things that we do, and also encourage and tell the parents that to not just let it be lip service, but let them see that you're doing the work. Parents need to know, so parents can also encourage the kid, hey, go back in there, because I know this lacking kids. So we will need to make sure that we're including everybody in the process of making sure that students are the center of all the work that we do.
It is about the students. They are the center of the whole profession. I heard somebody say once, they didn't build the school to give us a place to work. If it weren't for students, none of us would be sitting on the stage tonight. You wouldn't be considered a superintendent because you wouldn't need one without the kids. It's all about the kids. Adults have concerns too. I mean, we have to be concerned about our personnel, but at the end of the day, none of us will be here. This building wouldn't be here. None of us would be here tonight if it weren't for the students. They have to remain our 100% main focus all the time.
I think bringing the accountability model into the school district is very important for every department. Right now, when we think school accountability, we think teachers. If we have a school accountability conversation with every department in the school district, that will put students at the forefront. Because right now, when we don't meet accountability, the conversation is what happened in 5th grade science, what happened in 4th grade math. Never do we ever have the conversation to say, how many times was the bus late? When did the kids have late lunch? Was the food good and nutritious? Were the bathrooms clean? That's never part of the conversation. So if we begin to have the conversation with every department and make sure they understand how they all impact instruction, everyone will know why they come to work for students. It is every department's job, whether it's a bus, whether it's a custodian, whether it's the cafeteria, whether it's a teacher, whether it's an administrator, where they fall in the gap of accountability. That's how we keep students first.
By ensuring that our strategic plan is built on student success. When you build your strategic plan, you build it with the student in mind. Every component of that plan is built around the success of the student, and that ensures that we keep the student at the school and district level connected. Because the strategic plan leads and guides the district and the school. When the strategic plan is in place, it covers every area: operations, instruction, food and service support, and community engagement. Every conversation that we begin should be around students. When we open up the board meeting, when we close a board meeting, when we open up a meeting, it should be student-centered. When we have a conversation, it should be student-centered. When we purchase, it should be student-centered. Whatever we're doing is about the student's success and their future. All other conversation can be extended from that. Teacher accountability is based on students. Principal accountability is based on students. Timely delivery. When we look at the accreditation model, as an administrator, I went through rectifying the accreditation model. Everything dealt with students. We dealt with the safety of transportation, the buses, the seats. It's for students to be in a conducive environment. So our conversation has to extend that. And that changes the culture, and then that creates cooler courage.
Last question. What are your personal goals that you want to bring to this position?
Personal goals to bring to this position are to, again, listen confidentially, learn creatively, and to lead courageously. Making sure that not only every student has opportunity, but every employee has opportunity, and that the community grows from my leadership. Simple as simple can be. Working together makes us better.
For me, it's very important that we can take the Lawrence County School District to the next level, where we can be such a great school district that we can bring industry into such a rural area. It is very important that we can make the school district an A, make sure businesses feel comfortable in bringing their children, to build more partnerships for us to gain ad valorem with the tax base. That is very important for me. So if I was to be selected as superintendent, my main goal is to make sure that we can move forward and make the matriculation of this process to ultimately lead to industry coming to Lawrence County School District.
From following the board meetings over the past several years since COVID, it seems like one of the biggest issues facing the district is upgrading facilities. I know part of Rod Page had to be shut down because it was structurally unsound. I can't say what the path forward is going to be. That's not my part of this. My part is to implement the will of the board if I. But I think it's time to deal with that. We come together as a community, as a district, and we go ahead and settle the issue, because all this time's gone by, we've had students without half their school. And then schools throughout the district may need to be upgraded, and it will require a comprehensive look. But we've got to be on the same page. That's what's going to be best for our students. It's got to be dealt with. And then, time wasted is lost forever. We can't get it back. And now's the time to move forward and deal with those things. I can't say what the right path forward is, but community involvement, common mission, in my opinion, is the best way to get that done.
My personal goal is to simply answer the call that God has in my life, to come in and make an impact with scholars who need quality instruction, quality support, quality leadership. My job is also to build a team through collaboration with teachers and scholars and parents and staff in the central office and community members to ensure that we're pushing our district to the next level. It's very important that our scholars are able to not only experience the love here, but also experience the accountability and the academic progression, so that they're able to be empowered to be a fierce competitor in a global society. I know that our goal here, your mission statement, is that they develop to compete against their peers, but we want to be fierce competitors because the global is big. Y'all, and Lawrence County can do that. Right here in this small community, we can be mighty in size. It's not always the size of the dog that's in the fight, but it's the fight that's inside the dog. So we can do that right here, in Cookers. So that's one good thing. And allow scholars to experience the success that they need. That's our job. Our job is to ensure that they get all that they can, so they can be empowered to have that job that we don't even know about, so they can be effective in a world that we don't even know about, but they have to live in. That's what we're called to do.
Thank you. You each will get 2 minutes to just, in conclusion, address the stakeholders about why you should be the superintendent.
Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you all for having me on this panel. I really appreciate this opportunity. I think this is fantastic. Opportunity to get to meet the superintendent. The search for the superintendent is one of the most important undertakings in life in public schools. And I acknowledge that you all have a daunting task to help pick so that the superintendent should be here. As you determine who should lead Lawrence County School District, please remember that I'm a doer. I want to be somewhere where we can sustain all wonderful things that have taken place in this district. If you're looking for a caretaker to maintain the status quo, that's not me. I want to make sure that we move and we grow. If you're looking for a leader who can identify clear objectives and produce results with budgetary parameters, I'm your guy. If you're looking for a leader who will use data to drive decision making, I'm your leader. If you're looking for a leader who will embrace change because it's mandated, I am that leader for this district. If you're looking for the leader who will envision children in classrooms and making decisions is not just a theory or spreadsheet, it's not just a number, I'm your upcoming superintendent for Lawrence County School District.
Like you said, thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you, board members, for allowing this forum. Thank you to all my fellow educators up here for participating in this. I want to be the next superintendent of Lawrence County School District, again, because of my personal investment here and because I love the town of Monticello. I've been coming here for the last 5 or 6 years since Jackson's played in recreational sports, and I think this is a great town. We don't have a Pizza Inn, but you have one here. I think that's awesome. And y'all got the best Sonic probably in the nation here in Monticello. But But I'm impressed with the town of Monticello. The people at the ball field in athletics are not always friendly here. I've never seen a problem. I don't doubt that there have been, but I've never seen one. The kids can compete hard against each other in the regular season and then come together as all-stars and go whip Pike County. I'm particularly proud of that because I'm from Pike County. A few years ago when we beat Pike County, it was a big upset win. We beat them twice. I told my son, I said, man, I'm going to have to cover my tag up going home today. I'm embarrassed because Lawrence County, y'all beat the socks off of Pike County. It's that kind of camaraderie, that kind of fellowship that I really want to be a part of. Great district, and I would love to be a part of it.
My greatest strength is to build a team, to build camaraderie, to build trust, modeling transparency. One thing I have is a woman of my word. If I said it, it's gonna happen. If I said no, that means no. I want to come to support teachers. I want to model and be the person on the ground. I'm not going to be a person sitting in the office. I work every single day, and everybody who works under my leadership is going to work every single day. It's about taking care of business, doing what we need to do for children, and being a support to the community, being transparent to the community, and making sure that they understand the vision that we are aligning with the goal and the mission. So I want to be the superintendent of the Lawrence County School District. I come here to do a job. I don't forget the job, and the job never stops.
As Lawrence County School District's next superintendent, I would like to say thank you for this opportunity and for being in your midst to listen and to hear and to speak on what we will see happening in the future. My leadership style is to be situational, work through every situation, no matter what it is, aggressive, making sure that we complete the task at hand and say what we mean, collaborative, working with each of you to make sure that we are successful in all that we do. As we look around our school district, we together will ensure that all of our students have an opportunity to succeed and have a great school experience. I want to again say thank you for allowing me to be with you. Last year, I moved to Jefferson Davis County High School from a C to a B. The first time it was a B in the history of the school. Working through the $14 million improvement plan in the school district, where we upgraded every building through anticipatory notes as well as grants and support. I've led our district out of school improvement. I've led our district through various superintendencies. I've worked under 4 different superintendents, making sure that the vision was kept. So it has been a very tedious journey, but I know how to be consistent, I know how to be collaborative, and I know how to say what I mean what I say. If I say it once, you can bet your bottom dollar I can say it again. Thank you so much.
The board would like to thank each of you for coming tonight. Ms. Kelsey is in the back with the brown basket, so if you'll mark which candidate is the one you think that should be the superintendent, we will be factoring that into our decision at our meeting Thursday. You all have a great night and be safe going home.